Chris Cox here. Okay, so we're going to start these licks. I'm going to start off showing you what I did in the trailer, and then I'll show you kind of where I got this lick from. So I did a... Now, I kind of took that lick from Deuce. So if you listen to this last part of the Deuce guitar solo, Ace plays this. Play that again. So pretty much most of the same, pattern and notes I use down here, just in a different key. So just so you guys know, I'm going to show you everything that I learned, and I kind of incorporated into the trailer. Then we'll talk about the Ace Frehley part of the different licks. But you can move this around to whatever key that you want to. So depending on where the root note is. So if we look up here at the Deuce part, so we're in the 5th position here, so 5th fret. This is the A minor pentatonic. How we know that's an A minor pentatonic is, one, we're looking at the shape. So there's the A minor pentatonic shape. But also we're looking for where our root note's located. So the 5th fret of the low E is an A. 7th fret of the D is an A. And then down here on the 5th fret of the high E is also an A. So we know that is our root note, so it's the key of A. So it's an A minor pentatonic. Now, I played everything in E, so all we have to do is find that E note down here on the 12th fret and play that exact same pattern. So there's an E, 14th fret of the D is an E, and then 12th fret is an E. So if you wanted to move this, let's just say all of a sudden, I don't want to play that pentatonic, that minor pentatonic in G. Go up here and find my G note. There's another G note. There's another G note, and just play the pattern. Actually, on the Patreon channel, there is tablature available that you can print out if you want. That has all the notes of all of A minor pentatonic all over the neck. So that way, you can start learning these patterns, because you will have to do a little bit of memorization to learn the actual, what the patterns and shapes kind of look like. But once you get that part, then you're looking for the root notes so that you know where to move it around. So this lick, this Deuce lick, I'm just going to call these out. This will be 5th fret of the high E, 8th fret of the B, 5th fret of the B, and then 8, 7, 5 on the G. Now, if we just did that solo and you're like, wait a second, where did this note come from? That's not in the pentatonic scale, but it works. David T. Chastain, a long time ago, he referred, I used to watch a video of his. He's an extreme metal player, killer guitar player. He described these type of notes as passing notes. So notes that you can pass through quickly, but you really can't sit on. So if I played an open A, then that sounds okay together in that part of the 7th fret. If I go back a couple frets, that works as well. But if I sit on that note, it doesn't work. But if I go through it fast and get off of that note, it works. So this is passing notes in the what they refer to as the blues scale. So we have 5, 8, 5, 8, 7, 5 on the G, and then the same thing here. We have 7, 6, 5 on the D string. So same thing. Doesn't work that 6th fret, but if I do and get off of that note fast, it's a passing note, so it'll work. So that's again 7, 6, 5, and then we do it again, 7, 6, 5, and then end on the G. So it sounds like this. So I took basically that lick, and he does this type of lick a lot, and kind of incorporated it into the trailer and how, try to make it somewhat my own without completely just ripping it off note for note. So the first thing I did was, after I do this lick, I did like a... So I did kind of a, I'm using the same notes, using that same pattern. The first part's going to be... That's going to be 14, 12, 15. So 14G, 12B, 15B. And then I did that same pattern here. This is 15, 14, 12. And then I did that same descending run there, except it's going to be 14, 13, 12, just like we did here. We're doing it here. Doing the same thing on the A string, and then ending here, but then I added this. So by adding those couple little subtleties, it's heavily influenced by Ace, but it sounds a little bit different, just slightly different, so that you can kind of make it your own thing. So I will have this tabbed out, so you guys, if you go through and I didn't cover that, closely enough, you can look at the tab as well to go along with this. And I have a backing track with this lesson as well. It's like a minute and a half long, but it's E minor backing track and kind of a KISS style tune, so that you can work these licks. So let's move to the next one. So the next one I put in here was a... So this is an old Chuck Berry lick that Ace uses. I'm pretty sure that I would say 90% of the KISS songs, that somewhere he applies that little lick in all these really creative ways, so it always sounds a little different to your ear. So basically what you're doing here, and I'll show you some examples of where, songs he used that in. So you're taking your middle finger or your ring finger, whichever you want, here on the 14th fret. We're still in the E minor pentatonic. And you're basically doing a small bend up, so about a half bend. You're going to bar your finger across the 12 of the B and high E, and you're going to let those ring. Now, I know you've heard this so many times, so let me think of one. Okay, so example, 2,000 Men. So there's an example. See, two-timer. So there's just so many examples of him using that little lick, and I mean, it's one of those kind of go-to licks. So if you get stuck and you're not sure what else to play, it's almost a guarantee that you can break into, and it works. So another Ace lick, and this is what I did kind of in the trailer, was this lick. Now, I'll show you an example of where Ace used that exact same technique. So if we play the riff to Let Me Go Rock and Roll. That's one of the areas he actually, I believe, plays that same kind of style on the Love Her All I Can solo. So I forgot it. But that's the same kind of technique. Just like before, we can move, since it's in this A minor pentatonic, we could also play this in A minor. you could just make a lick just out of that. What I did is basically come down here and I played, barring my first finger across the 12th fret of the B and high E, and I'm doing. Now you're doing a down pick on the B and then an up pick on the high E, and you're pulling off. So once you hit the high E, you're pulling off from 15 to 12. So I knew that this next scale had this note in there. So I was like, well, heck, if this works, then I know this note's going to work as well. So I just did a. Same thing, down pick on the 12th fret of the B, pull off from 15 to 12, come back to the B. This time you're going to pull off from 17 to 12 on the high E. Okay, you could come up here at, let's say we're in D. You could play those all over the neck. You could come up here in A minor and do a. And that's just coming right down the A minor pentatonic scale. So let's recap. We have these descending pentatonic run, similar to what we did, what Ace did in Deuce. We have the Chuck Berry lick. Then we had the little, kind of a little pull-off lick. Oops, so I can play it. So the idea is just to take these three notes and 3 licks, if I can talk today, and see how you can incorporate them into your own playing. Basically what you're going to end up doing is you're going to take these licks and they're going to become part of your bag of tricks, so to speak. So most guitar players have their go-to licks. The nice thing about these are sometimes when you get stuck and you're not sure what to do, sometimes you can go to these licks and they're a great way to kind of get yourself out of a jam. Because let's face it, as guitar players, eventually sometimes we run out of licks. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Practice this with the backing track. I'll also have some tablature for this lesson as well. Thanks so much.